it's Ryan Tierney from Lean Made Simple. We're on day 2 of the 2-second Lean Summit right here in Limavady, Northern Ireland. We're just about to close the event, but before we do, we're going to announce one more speaker. It's Mr. Brad Cairns, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Brad is an amazing lean thinker, and this message was the perfect message to close the 2-second Lean Summit. It's all about your lean garden, and you're just about to find out exactly what that means.
Yeah, what an honor to be selected or voluntold to close out a summit like this. How do you follow what happened today? How? I mean, everybody did such a good job. Seating Matters did a good job. This thing was so over the top. There's no words. I could go on about it for 15 minutes, but I think I'll run out of time. So what I'd like to do for my last ditch effort here is I just want to give you the key to success. It's that simple. Anybody want the key to success? Say aye. All right, cool. So the key to success is easy. Build a garden. Right, Paul? Where's Paul? There. So this is not a real garden I'm asking you to build. This is a metaphorical garden I'm asking you to build. Until you get to acre status, then you actually build a Japanese garden in your backyard. So most of you are like, what's this idiot talking about? He's talking about gardens. I'm trying to build a business. Hello, wrong subject. But in actual fact, I think that this just might be the ticket. So who's had a stressful day at work? Say aye. All right. So who's maybe feel like they haven't been listened to by anybody? Say aye. What about tired? Do you ever get up and you're just like, man, I just can't do another day like this? Aye. All right. So we all feel the same way. But I want you to know that some of the greatest people in the world have suffered. And they've suffered the most. So I'm going to put forward that suffering is not a bad thing. Maybe the suffering is awesome. Maybe that suffering is just the price you have to pay for personal growth. So I don't want to look at suffering as a bad thing anymore. These two teams, someone won, someone lost. Who is going home thinking really, really hard about the game the next day? Can we even have personal growth without some level of defeat? And I don't think we can. I mean, hang out with me. 25 years of doing it the wrong way. It's been awesome. So let's say that we want to build the ultimate lean maniac. What does that person need? We want them to be tough, right? You got to be tough. You got to have thick skin. So are we going to give that person an easy life? We're going to make it easy on them? No, we're not. What about if we want them to have patience? Are we going to give them things right away? No, we're not. What about if we want them to have discipline? Are we going to tempt them a little bit here and there? Let's see if you got what it takes. We probably are. So I don't think we need to be too hard on ourselves when all of these things are surrounding us and it's a challenge and we're looking at it like it's a bad thing. It's not. We're building lean machines every day. So let's not make money the total focus. Notice the picture's not focused. That was on purpose. Pretty good. I'm getting good at that keynote. So there's 3 things in this world that you cannot buy no matter how hard you try. Speaking of which, Colby needs a microphone wherever he is in the next 5 seconds. One thing that you can't buy is a strong body. And quick subject, sort of off script, is I saw all of those stickers. I take total ownership of the forklift. I take total ownership of this. And everyone's like mind blown, like, wow, that's so cool. That forklift from 1982 looks like it's like brand new. I just want to encourage everybody to stick one of those right here. Stick it on your body. Stick it on your mind. You should take complete ownership of this Because without this, if you think, oh, it's okay, I'm just going to help other people. You ever get in a plane crash? Probably not, or you wouldn't be here. Next example. In the event of a plane crash, your oxygen first. So if you plan on helping people, plan on being around a long time to do it and put one of those ownership tags on your body. Next, you can't buy a peaceful mind. Impossible. And third, you can't buy loving relationships. That all has to be cultivated. So if you have your friends, and a lot of people just think it's normal, excuse me, that you get together on Fridays and bet on fantasy football and drink beer, it seems like a good time. If I'm really your friend, is that what we should be doing? You know, I'm not much interested in that. And I think I'm maybe in a room full of people that feel the same way. Because if I'm truly your friend, I want to talk about your business. Let's talk about how can we make that better? How can I help you? How can you help me? I want to talk about how can we make some money together? What can we do? Is there a partnership? Is there a collaboration? Is there something there for us to do? And I want to see you absolutely dominate as a human being. I want to see you be the best version of you. So having like guiltless pleasures of sitting around drinking, if you want to change things, when you change, everything will change. So you might feel that some of your friends eventually will say, oh, Mr. Hotshot, you're working on Saturday now. You're too good for us. You know, are you getting too good for us? You can't come watch the game anymore. And the reality is, yeah, 100%. I'm not effing interested. Period. I got things to do. I got things to build. And by God, I'm going to get it done. So, Colby, did you get a microphone somewhere? Yeah. Is he somewhere? You came to me after your talk and you said you forgot something so important and you just told me like the best thing and I just wanted to give you a slide here. Can you please tell everybody that little sliver that you forgot? Because man, it is gold.
You might have to remind me now.
What? Tell me about your friends, your old friends.
Oh, it's all about the people you surround yourself with. And I left this last leadership summit in Riverside in a bad position. And I was in a chaotic state in my mind, the people I had in my life, everything. And it hindered the ability for me to lead.
Right. And did you have to cut a few of those people loose?
Absolutely. Get the hell out is what my dad would say.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. So as leaders and as business owners, you know, we come home and we've had like a heck of a day, right? Like, oh man, we're faced with 5,000 decisions a day. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? Who do you ask? You know, your wife or husband. Maybe you married them for their looks and they're not that bright. Maybe you ask your favorite uncle. He's a bit of a raging alcoholic. I'm not sure if that's a good idea either. Maybe you have a few friends, but they're so busy watching fantasy football, they're not going to take a minute to internalize what you have going on. So it's going to leave you in this state where now your old friends, you're kind of like, I'm moving away from my old crowd, but I haven't made it, or I haven't made enough impact that the new crowd is accepting of me. So now, where am I? I'm here, and I'm alone. And I want to quote, not exactly because I can't remember the whole thing, but David Goggins, pretty motivational guy. He said, you have to be obsessed to the point where people think you're nuts. Obsessed to the point where they can't understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. You have got to be totally off your rails. He goes, when you get there, you've arrived. And so we've heard it time and time again that we're all crazy lean maniacs. And that is such a good sign for everybody. So as you how has our perspective changed in the last 2 days? I text messaged my shop. They asked me a question about, hey, do we have a checklist for this thing? And I was like, well, no, of course we don't. And I said, you will not recognize us when we get back. We will be aliens. So my perspective has changed so radically in the last couple of days that it's unbelievable. And as your perspective changes and your success grows, the rarer you are, the rarer are the people that actually care about your success. There's only one man on earth that wants to see you more successful than them, and that's your Father. So get ready for your world to start shrinking. And what do we do to the most hardened criminals in the world? You know, you commit a crime, what's the first thing we do to them? We put them in jail. Why? The punishment, the ultimate punishment, is to be removed from society. And here we are, trying to do something that only 2% of society, I think it's actually 1% we determined today, understand, will support us, will talk to us about it, will give us the time of day. And when those hardened criminals, they are bad in jail, what do they do to them? Solitary confinement. You don't think like maybe getting shot in the knee or a beating or something physical would be worse? No, they say, you're so hardened, we can't fix you. We're going to put you just in a hole. No pain associated with that. And it will break you. So we can't not be broken. We can't survive without community. So you need to start buying into this idea right now, as far as I'm concerned, that it's not going to get any easier, period. It's going to be hard. And people always ask me, oh, when does it get easier? When like, it doesn't matter what level you're at. Like, I was having lunch with Mr. Mumura, and I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm standing here, like, he solved all the problems I have, one sentence, and I'm just like, I'm the biggest idiot in the world. And he goes, no, I just like you. When I walk out into my factory, I see the same thing. The most dialed in factory in the world, he sees what I see at my shop, which is totally impossible. I understand that. But it's never going to get easier no matter what level you're at. So if you walked around Seating Matters, you're like, oh my God, look at that Kanban system. Yeah, everything's done. That's going to be so hard to do. Well, you could do your purchasing without Kanban, because that's going to be pretty hard to do as well. You could look at all the standards and say, oh my God, I have to hire 14 people to type up standards for me for the next 10 years. And that's going to be really, really hard to do. The option, run without them. Don't make any standards. Is that going to be hard to do? So no matter what you see and what you do, it's going to be hard. Get over it. You need to wake up in the morning and simply pick your heart. End of story. I know this seems a little doom and gloom, like, well, this guy's making it sound impossible. But there's hope. And that hope is, tell me your friends and I'll tell you your future. And it's that simple. So do you have friends around you that are boat anchors? Are you trying to get that boat going and those friends are holding you back? Because if you do, they need to go. And you need to trade them for propellers. You need to trade them for people that you want to be around, that want to be around you, and that are going to help propel you forward. And that's easy to say up here. Say, hey, go switch your friends. Some of them maybe you've been friends with for a long time. But if they're not propelling you forward, you might want to reconsider. Now, the friends that I'm talking about are the friends that I want. I want a kick in the ass. Bad. And I get it. I get it from my real friends. You told the story, right? Ryan's story about getting that kick in the ass. This is a disaster, or whatever he said, right? Now, did that propel you or hold you back? It propelled you. What seems bad is good, you know? So the real friends are going to be the ones that kick you in the butt. The placating friends at the bar are hoping you buy the next round of drinks. Thanks, but no thanks. So what does all this have to do with a garden? I'll pull it together. It's based on a little saying that I heard just the other day, and it said, if you forever chase butterflies, they will always fly away. But if you build a garden, they'll come to you. And I started thinking about that. And I thought, did Paul email 100,000 people and say, hey, please be my friend. Hey, come to the summit. Hey, I'm going to write a book. Please read it. No. Paul went to work and built FastCat. And all of us were like, wow, that's awesome. And we came to him. So I want to encourage people to start thinking about your garden. What does your garden look like? And I can share quickly. I see my sign. I'm might have a hard time holding it together. This is my garden. This has been what's happened to me since I met Paul. Okay, so I met this crazy guy. Forget about it. I phone him 400 times a week for advice. And I'm not asking my drunk uncle. I'm asking a guy who built a multi-million, multinational company. And you'll see us having fun and drinking. Don't kid yourself. When I need advice, drops everything. He's on the phone with me. Okay. Then we have this guy. Look at what he did for us in the last 2 days. Unbelievable. This is how I'm building my garden. Then we have Ritzio. I had the good fortune of meeting him. Jeff Koss. Would have never met him if it wasn't for Paul, another one who gets a phone call every month. Hey, Jeff, I'm struggling. And everybody has their specialty. You'll find, one person maybe is not enough. When I'm struggling with a real people problem, here's your guy. He'll set you straight. And always happy to take my call. This crazy guy. Really. I told him I was having a problem with my glue machine at my factory. A week later, he walks in my shop. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? He goes, well, you said you had a problem. From Portugal. He doesn't live down the street. Okay? This is crazy. This doesn't happen in normal communities. Josh, bottoms up. All day, every day, talking to this guy, sharing stories, sharing war stories. You really should check out his factory. Harold Cavallero, another awesome guy, taught me the manufacturing continuum. Ashley Bailey, if you met him, However, he resonates at a level just below Elon Musk. If you really need something technical or you really need his help, he will be there for you. Greg Glebe. I was at his factory. I go upstairs. There's this big Frankenstein piece of equipment, and I'm like, what the heck is this thing? And he showed us that he puts a stick in one end, and he makes this easel, comes out the other end, and all the machining happens at the same time. And I'm like, well, how'd you do that? He goes, well, we just built it ourselves. It never even occurred to me that I could build my own machines until I was exposed to that. And then I was like, oh, cool. Now we have a multi-million-dollar woodworking equipment business. So that wouldn't have happened without Greg. So another one, Thomas. I couldn't find a good picture of you, Thomas, but we have like the best conversations about the craziest things. And went to his farm. He's the lean farmer. If anyone doesn't know, I'd watch all his videos. Awesome. So this is my garden. And then Paul. it all started with that one phone call. 2 weeks later, we're in California riding dirt bikes. The rest is history, and my life would be nowhere if it wasn't for all of those people that you see on this screen. And do you know what's cool about this? Look around the room, they're almost all here. This is all from this community right here. So how do we water this garden? We water this garden with a little bit of education. Now, at lunch, I think the one thing that holds a lot of people back from being successful at what they're trying to do is the story that they're telling themselves. The story of, oh, well, you have all that equipment and I don't. Or, oh, I can't get my wife on board. She needs to be on board. Or, oh, the government's against me. Or I have no money. Or blah, 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 this story. And the more you repeat that story, the more validity you give it. And the more reason the universe has not to deliver on what you're talking about. So I want to encourage everybody, like, if that's you up until this minute, then that's just those pages. There's another 10,000 pages yet to be written. Take your pen out. Let's start writing. Let's start filling in those pages with what needs to be there, what should be there. The story is not over. After today, the story should be just beginning. At lunch, I was sitting with Mammy, and she looked at me and she said, I miss Shingo. And I can't say he was my friend. I can't say I knew him well enough. I spent 1 week with him and it was the most amazing thing ever. I got lots of good advice, but I think what the missing link is here that people aren't putting together, or I don't know, I wasn't until recently, is what's gone with him. They're not growing this shit on trees anymore. Let's look at this. Who else? Sorry. We have Paul. Okay, Paul is the world's most unbelievable connector I've ever seen. Paul has given us this. But I want you to really deeply, deeply consider who's next. You see any Taiichi Onos coming up through the ranks? You see any new manufacturing books getting written by manufacturing greats? We're sitting in the room with two of them. And I want to challenge everybody to think of who is next. Because soon we might only have each other. Don't mess up this opportunity. Thank you.